It is Sunday, July the 20th, 2025, 10 a.m. on the East Coast of America. This is Coffee with Frankie. But before we get into the show, let's listen to the Frankie from Flatbush theme song. Shall we? I think we shall.
Frankie from Flatbush rides the Brooklyn line. Got a swagger sharp like a vintage wine. Everybody knows his name from porch to stoop. Hustling dreams in every loop. In the park he struts, hits the handball wall. Echoes hear the stories when the shadows fall. Got 1,000 tales and a confident grin. On the streets of Flatbush where legends begin. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near. He's got the rhythm, everybody cheers. Corner talks and sidewalk chalks his fame. In the Flatbush breeze you'll hear his name. Underneath the subway hum, the magic's real. Frankie's moves got that electric feel. From Atlantic Avenue to the urban hill, Flatbush Frankie's giving you a thrill. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Always on the go. Always on the go. Always on the go.
All right, let's get going on this Sunday morning. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. We got Phil Adams here. We got Harlan Abraham here. We got Joe Mike here. We got Alan Dodds here. We got Eric Craig here. Eric Craig, the new resident of Florida. Let me know if you can hear me and see me okay in the chat. Microphone check, 1, 2. Microphone check, 1, 2. Phil Adams says hitting the like on the way in is what the Frankie fam do. I like the Frankie fam. Let's see, maybe that's what we'll call it, the Frankie fam. Harlan Abraham says he already hit the like button. Loud and clear. Franklin Fung is here. All right, thank you, Franklin. Hank G is here. You can hear me. All right. Thank you. Jojo's here. All right. Good. So it looks like we got the technical side taken care of. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Joe Mike's got a question. Joe's one of the people who every live stream, he's got his questions and comments lined up ready to go. I appreciate that, Joe. You know, Joe comes to the class and he's got his homework done. And he's got his questions ready, and he's ready to go. He's not just playing around, you know. He comes into a chat room. He got something to say all off the bat, off the rip. He got it ready to go. GM Frankie, did you see? Yeah, we're going to talk about this. Levi Onwuzurike. So he will list. No, he's out for the season, Joe. Yeah, maybe, but it doesn't explain why they didn't go after somebody of equal quality. I was always using him as like an example, Joe, of the type of guy we should get. Now, I was trying to read where when he got injured, he's had a back injury prior to last year. Last year he played all but one game. So I couldn't find out when he got injured. If he got injured toward the end of last year, then it makes sense that we would know that, and then we'd be like, oh no, that's risky, and that's fine. But if he got injured like in minicamp, then we wouldn't have known that, and then But the point of the fact of the matter is, even if it wasn't Levi Onwuzurike that we signed, we should have still signed somebody better than who we signed. But yeah, so now we're gonna get some. Basically the season has started. Let's be honest, Joe, and everybody in the chat and the Frankie fam. Uh, Football season has started. Let's just be honest. For the football nerds like us who follow every little thing like this, right? Levi Onwuzurike got injured. Like the average football fan has no idea who Levi Onwuzurike is, right? But we do because we were thinking about why didn't we sign this guy? But number one, Joe, he's out for the season, so it's an ACL out for the year. Not 4 games. Goodbye all year. So I guess we dodged a bullet with that one. But nonetheless, what's going to happen now? You're going to start seeing things like this pop up in the news. Injuries, who's out, who's in. Germaine Johnson starting the year on the poop list. Not to be not unexpected. But basically for the football nerds like us, it's going to be news every day now of some sort or another. I'll give you another one. As of 13 minutes ago, per Ian Rappaport rap sheet on X reporting, your New England Patriots are signing former Rams defensive tackle David Olajiga, source said, that would be his agent, a native of Phil Adams' own England. This man lived in England, the same place as the great Phil Adams. So, Phil, you've got a countryman on the roster of the New England Patriots. Did you know that? He joins via the International Player Pathway. So the Patriots have signed an IPP player. We've got 2 of those guys who have been easy like Sunday morning. And Leander Weigand, 2 offensive linemen. Here, the Patriots signed a defensive lineman, and his name is David Olajiga. And that's all we know about him. But everyone in this chat, the football nerds, the Frankie fam, and all the extended folks who diligently watch all of the live streams for the Jets and all the teams, basically like the hardcore football fans, season has started for all intents and purposes. We're going to start to get training camp reports, who's injured, who did this, who did that, who's looking good, who's looking bad, etc. Signings, releasings. There's a lot of good players still out there. Don't forget. So yeah, none of the reports on Levi told me when he injured his knee. I was just curious about it, but nonetheless, that's just a guy that was better than who we signed, but doesn't mean we couldn't have signed other people who are still out there. And remember, we still have $30 million in cap space. We can still do a lot if we want to. Phil says audio, visual, bell, all good. All right. Alan Dodes, the Doster, the book of Deodoron is here. Hey, everyone. We got Mason Taylor, ham and egg, G sign. We got sauce, and we got G5 extended. And we're ready for training camp. It's the season for hope. All right. Book of Deodoron is here, and he's got some hope to sell you. Yeah, I mean, give AG and Mougey credit. They got all the business they needed to get done, right? There's no lingering rookies hanging out like the Bengals got, We don't got none of those. Nobody waiting. Remember, Zach Wilson even went into 2 days into camp before he signed his deal, if you remember. I mean, the gall of Zach Wilson to miss any time. But, it's mostly the agent, doing their thing. But, yeah, Mougey and AG got pretty much everything done that needed to get done. Now, there's other optional items that I'd like to see them get done. I'd like to see them extend AVT and John Simpson, for example, and probably Quincy too. Um, but those are things that are not, urgent. If they get done, great. If they want to wait till after the season, that's a little dicey. But I say when you get good players in your building and you're the Jets, you got to lock them up. I mean, even if there's risk with them, AVT has injury risk. John Simpson, isn't the best guard on planet Earth, but he's pretty darn good. And I say, you get those players on your team, you sign them up. And the reason you would want to do it now is because the player, if you give it the right mix of a deal, and the contracts that were just signed tell me that Mougey does know what he's doing in terms of contract structure, making it fair for the player, but also good for the club. So that's optimistic right there, right? It seems like Mougey knows what he's doing. And contract structure, while boring to the average fan, is actually very important because you need to protect it because it has to do with cap space and cash budgets, which Woody gets squirrely with sometimes, and also being fair to the players and making sure they look good so they feel comfortable, and so that other players know, hey, this is not a bad place to go. Maybe they don't win as many games as we would like, but they'll still treat us fairly, in terms of compensation and so forth. So that's all good. And so that being the case, one of the reasons the player, then in this case, if we're talking about AVT and John Simpson, would want to sign deals now is because you get that money guaranteed in a contract now before you risk going out and playing and getting injured. It's all about injuries in the NFL. The NFL, to a large degree, is all about injuries. Who gets injured? Levi Onwuzurike got injured, and the Lions have other injuries too. But don't forget, Aleem McNeil is not going to play until maybe October or something. So their defensive tackle situation is not looking great. But so things like that really affect how the team looks and does. I mean, this is the way it is. So the players would want to sign those deals now to lock in whatever guarantees they can now. And with Mougey in place, what we've seen in terms of the contracts, Fields, Sherwood, Wilson, Gardner, all these people, he knows how to do a contract fairly where the player feels good about it, but it's also fair to the club. And so I would say we should probably get those done. I mean, why risk that? Because once they get done with the season, then the injury risk goes away for them. Then they're less incentivized to do a deal. They might want to do a deal, if you're coming the highest, hey. But they might be incentivized to do a little bit of a smaller deal now to lock in those guarantees. So we'll see what they do. They're obviously moving in silence. There's nothing leaking out of the Jets right now because these beat reporters, I mean, the latest tweet by Dick Chimney, our least favorite of the important beat writers, has a tweet about Marvin Jones. You guys see this? Let's hold off on that. Let's get through these comments and then we'll talk about Marvin Jones, what he's been up to. EC Eric Craig, the latest resident of Florida. The excitement is building. Well, I don't know about that, Eric, but it's maybe for us nerds. But that's it. Jojo's ready for camp. Going camping. Jojo was a man from Tucson, Arizona. Get back, Jojo. JJ starting on poop list means no, that there's nothing to do with anything, Jojo. Incorrect. Let's correct our brother Jojo. So the poop list means he can be activated at any time. So he's not going to start the season on the poop list at all, probably. He put out a video where he's running 19 miles per hour. 19 miles per hour. Does anybody know how good that is? Does anybody know? The fastest people in the NFL are like 23, 24 miles an hour. The fastest, absolute fastest. Breece Hall is like 21, 22. Germaine Johnson's a defensive lineman running 19 off a broken Achilles. So he's going to be fine. And as he himself said, it's just a precautionary measure. He's just starting on the poop list. And he's not going to be on there when the season starts. But Clemens is going to make the roster, as we've talked about many times, Jojo, that Clemens is going to make the roster because he's defensive end 3. And there's nobody better. Unless somebody in camp pushes him off, He's our third best defensive end, which means he's the first guy off the bench, to replace JJ or Willie Mack. Alan Dode's coming in strong with a 199 super chat. Very much appreciated. Frankie for Flatbush is live with super chats. And as the Doster says, Book of Deodoron says, look, here's a super chat. And super chats count toward the fan leaderboard. You guys may not know. Now on YouTube, maybe you do know, it's pretty obvious when you look at it. They have this leaderboard thing with crowns and numbers and this. They're gamifying the chat. And if you give a super chat, like the Doster here, you get to move up the leaderboard because a super chat is better than a chat. You're going above and beyond. Certain topics. And by the way, I'm thinking about instituting some tariffs. So some of these topics need to have tariffs imposed. Like America has tariffs on foreign goods. Some topics need to have a tariff where if you just ask about it without a super chat, it's one of those topics I'm not interested in talking about. But if you throw some super chat dough in there, I'll talk about it. So I think we need some Frankie tariffs on some of the topics coming in. But as the Doster said, yeah, super chats are open and appreciated, and it gets you higher on the Frankie Fam leaderboard, which you want to be high up there. You don't want to be on the bottom. Who wants to be on the bottom? Who wants to be on the bottom? Nobody. Jojo says, finally back to real football news. Yeah, and we can argue and correct each other and say, no, what about this? This guy said that. This guy's reporting this. Did you see this report out of ML Football? And all that. Didn't Johnson live in England, too? Which Johnson? There's a lot of Johnsons, Harlan. Phil says, the shame of having somebody play for the Pats will cast a shadow over my... Well, you think about it. They're called the New England Patriots. And the New England Patriots, way back in the 1700s, defeated jolly old England, when we were creating this thing called America. And so it's odd that you would have a man from England go and play for the modern day New England Patriots. So, hey. But he's probably going to be a P Squad dude. Let's be honest. No one's ever heard of him. Only problem with camp, Jojo says, are these propaganda videos. Why is that a problem? They're propaganda videos. What's the problem? I mean, all the teams release them, not just the Jets. They're trying to get people excited to go to the games, Jojo. It is a business after all, and the product is the playing of the game on the field, and they're trying to show you we can play. Whether they're right or not is another story, but they're trying to do marketing, Jojo. It's called marketing. This is a business. Some people forget this is a business. They're trying to sell tickets, brother. What do you want them to do? Put out I don't know what. Joe Mike says, with sauce, Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor signed, and no drama in camp, you would think that the Jets press would focus now on why the Jets are not improving these positions. We'll see. I don't know if they really want to do that. They typically don't. That's not really a good angle. I don't know. They have to find an angle, a way to make it appealing. Most Jet fans, for example, Joe, don't know who Julian Blackmon is. I did a video earlier this week about the safety position. I disagree with you about wide receiver, but otherwise, those other positions, yes. But I did a video about safety. Justin Simmons is out there. You don't want him because he's a little old. He's 31 now. Okay, he's on the wrong side of 30. All right. What about Julian Blackmon? The man's 26 years old and graded out above average last year by PFF. It's better than what we got sitting around. Now, I do think we're going to play a ton of cover one and cover four, and then the safety is going to be more involved in the run game. But that's all the more reason to sign a guy like Julian Blackman. He's a great tackler. I mean, who do you want in the box? Andre Cisco? I mean, he's okay, but I'd rather have two guys who can tackle. Because if, Andre Cisco, okay, but then you have Tony Adams. And I mean, out of those two, then Tony Adams is going to, in cover one, Tony Adams is going to be back and Cisco will be down. But I'd rather have two guys who can tackle instead of just one. I don't know. Typically, well, you think about the press. They get their stories from the agents texting them, right? So you know, uh, these guys who are free agents, are their agents going to want the story to be, hey, this guy's still out there? Because it kind of makes their player look bad. Like nobody signed him yet. So it's unlikely they're going to get any text messages from agents to do stories that way. The Jets aren't leaking anything. And then their other way they get stories is things that people say at the microphone when they're doing a press conference, or things they see in camp. So there might be one or two stories. I mean, the person who would write that type of story the most would probably be Rosenblatt. But don't forget also that they're not football experts. I mean, are any of our beat writers football experts, Joe? I don't think so. Are they going to really know the difference between cover one, cover two, cover three, cover four, cover zero? Do they know what that means? I mean, they probably kind of do. They probably know the basics, but they probably don't know which one of those is better for the run and which one isn't, and what the safeties do on a run play in cover two versus cover one, for example. So they don't, they're not hardcore football guys. You know who would write a great article about that? Oh, Frankie from Flatbush. uh, if anybody writes an article about it, maybe I will. I do have a Substack, but I don't update it very much. I just don't have time. There is a Frankie from Flatbush Substack if you want to check it out. I got a couple articles up there, but nothing too great, really. I just don't have the time. I also have an Instagram. I also have an X account. If you want to follow me on X, it's at Flatbush Frankie, and Frankie from Flatbush on Instagram, but I don't post anything on Instagram either. I use Instagram to see what the players are posting up there, and that's how I know about Germaine Johnson in 19 miles an hour, for example, and that's really impressive, by the way. Um, but also somebody like a Malachi Corley is posting all these workout videos. He looks good to go to me. I don't know what's going on. But you notice Corley was not placed on any kind of a list, at least yet. So the news out of the Jets was Germaine Johnson on the poop list, active poop, PUP, physically unable to perform as of now. And also Irvin Charles. You may have forgot that we still have wide receiver Irvin Charles, but he will most likely start on the list that precludes him from playing. He's not going to be back till October, November. Irv Charles, he had ACL injury. And then they placed Aaron Smith, linebacker, whoever that is, on the active NFI list, non-football injury list. That means he got injured doing something away from the facility. And but those are the only three people they put on any kind of list so far. So hopefully Malachi Corley, for example, is fully healthy, and when camp starts next week, he can at least participate and give himself a chance to make this team. And then Germaine Johnson came out with a tweet that said, "I will be on PUP, PUP, because the team wants to move slow to be safe, which I agree with," Germaine said. "Not because I'm not ready. All is well." Germaine, if you've been following Germaine, I love Germaine Johnson, by the way. If you've been following Germaine Johnson, you know he is like a maniac with this rehab. And he's posting videos of all these things he's doing, including the 19 miles an hour, just running straight line, which is impressive. But then he's doing all this defensive line stuff, and he looks good to me. Looks good to me, but I'm no doctor. But looks like he's good to go. I mean, really. And then he's saying he's good to go, and they're just saying, just being safe here. So he's going to be good to go for week one, and we should see him in training camp playing at some point. I would expect. So no concerns about Germaine. Now, how effective he's going to be, we don't know, but he should be playing at least. Talking about Woody Johnson. Jojo says Simpson probably cheaper. Yeah. No, AVT would be foolish if we offered him a nice deal to quote unquote test the market. He's been injured too much. He's risking a lot. Every year he's been injured. Last year he played with a high ankle sprain. I mean, he might want to, but if we offer him a nice fair deal, he should take it. And same thing with John Simpson. Simpson will be cheaper. AVT is more highly regarded. It's just a better player. But then there's the injury concern with AVT. So we should be able to get nice fair deals for them too. Yeah, Jojo's down in Fort Lauderdale. We got a lot of Floridians. We might have to do a Florida Jets meetup. What about a Florida Jets meetup? What about that? We got Jets Giants fan. Guy who's a Jets Giants fan. Good morning, Frankie. I'm looking forward to New York Jets camp. Finally getting the season underway. I know, it feels like a forever, right? How can I shorten your name, your username? Let's see. Like Jets Giants? Jetty Giants? I don't know. A New York football fan. But it does feel like forever, doesn't it, when we have that pause? But the good news is, for all intents and purposes, for the deep down football nerds like us, the season's starting. For me, it started with Levi Onwuzurike injured. Dan Campbell steps to the mic and says, Onwuzurike is out for the year. I was like, oh, wow. Dodged a bullet with that one, I guess. You know, the Lions are going to be fascinating. The Lions will be one of the teams I watch. The Lions have a lot of injuries still. They were decimated by injuries last year. They play on the same kind of turf we do, only indoors. So they have bad field turf. They have a lot of injuries, and they lost all those coaches. So it'll be interesting to see if they take a step back or not. On the other hand, the NFC is pretty wide open. Other than the Eagles, there's really no powerhouses. There's a lot of contenders, but I would say the Eagles are the only clear-cut one that you feel really confident with. So, there should be plenty of opportunity for any one of these teams. The Lions, the Packers, the Cowboys, the 49ers, Rams, one of these teams, the Bucks maybe, to kind of step up. Because in the AFC, it's pretty clear cut. There's three and the rest. In the AFC, it's just three and everybody else. And it's like that song, The Big Three. Then somebody else came out and said, there ain't no big three. There's just big me. But anyway, in the AFC, there's a big three. It's the Bills, the Ravens, and the Chiefs are the big three. Then everybody else is fighting to get up in there. Get up in there. Hank G, way to scare of your foreign viewership. Good ones. The Doster. Book of Deodoron. The Cowboys beat reporters are blaming the Jets' extension for Sauce as a reason they won't be able to re-sign Deodoron. Screw them. I mean, that's just stupid. Well, first of all, Deodoron Bland is not on Sauce's level. And second of all, if that's the case, then they don't understand how markets work. And third of all, they probably haven't looked into the details of the contract. They're just looking at that 30.1, which it really isn't. And, listen, Dodes, if us signing a contract gives other teams problems, good. I don't think it's true. But if it is, great. We screwed other teams over? Wonderful. Who cares? Like, we're the ones who always get screwed over. I would look at this as another beautiful aspect of this contract that Mougey did. I'll give Mougey the credit. It's the whole team under Mougey and plus him, but the GM gets credit for contracts, etc. So I'd say that's another beautiful aspect. If doing these deals now, both for Wilson and Gardner, screws over other teams, great, wonderful. Let somebody else get screwed, Dodes. We don't need to get screwed all the time. We get screwed plenty. We we got to do the screwing sometimes. If you see what I'm saying here. So what? What do we care about the stupid Cowboys? Screw them. You know? Let them figure out how to get to the Super Bowl. They haven't been to the Super Bowl in 30 plus years. Let them figure it out. They're the ones who gave Dak Prescott $60 million a year. We didn't do that. Did we give Dak Prescott $60 million a year, or did they do that? Two of the best contracts from the agent point of view in the history of football are the two contracts that Dak Prescott signed. And those were done by who? The Jets or the Cowboys? I think the Cowboys did that. So maybe they should look in the mirror before they look at the stupid Jets. But let's blame the Jets. We can't sign Deodoron. Bland. Too bad. Screw you. Get out of here. Cowboys. Yeah, I think it's funny too. Phil Adams says JJ is made of the right stuff. He'll move the earth to get back. Yeah, he's already back, man. If you've seen his Instagram and you've seen his workouts, I mean, the man looks like a demon. 19 miles per hour is nothing to scoff at. That is fast for a defensive end. Very fast. So he's running 19 miles per hour off of Achilles surgery? What? Now, we'll see how he does and how many snaps he can do. It's one thing to do workout videos where you're just doing a few workout things. A football game where you have to do it, 40 times, against real competition in a real game, et cetera, is a totally different thing. But still, he's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. And that's a guy after the season, if he puts up a good season, that's another guy we should think about extending as well. EC says, I'm down for a Florida meetup. This is certainly the year for it, as the Jets play all three Florida teams in Florida. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we might have to organize something. Especially if it's like a live watch along. It'd be cool if we could get like some restaurant bar space thing and kind of do our watch alongs, but we'll do it live. Screw it, we'll do it live. You know what I mean? That'd be kind of cool. I would not want to go to one of the games. But like a bar, restaurant thing that we could rent out some space, and put it up on the big screen and just have it be a Jets hub for the day to watch the Jet game, and then watch the other games, and just hang out for a few hours and have a football watching party. It's a party. It's a smarty party. Doster, depending when it is, I might be able to go to Florida for a meetup too. I visit my parents in Boca del Boca Vista a couple of times a year. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of New Yorkers would feel the same way, or people from the Northeast. A little fly down to Florida. Yeah, visit Alligator Alcatraz. Why not? Why not? Joe Mike, that's the added bonus of doing. Yeah, you screw the other teams as they now have to fork over more money. Yeah, but that's just the natural evolution of markets. So you're not really screwing them over. It just was going to happen. Jets have been on the other end for years. But yeah, let's get it done early. Let's make it fair. And then we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to. I mean, the Cowboys wait a long time before they do their contracts. They wait. Look what they're doing with Micah Parsons. I mean, you're going to really risk upsetting Micah Parsons? I mean, for God's sakes, that dude is a beast. So, why'd you wait? Why'd you have to give Dak Prescott two of the best contracts in NFL history from the agent point of view? Nobody told you to do that. He's not the best quarterback in the league. Why is he getting the best contract? He's not even close to the best quarterback in the league. And he gets the best uh, contracts, two of them at the time he signed them. I think people have passed him by a little bit since then, but when he signed them, they were two of the best contracts for the player ever. And there's a lot that goes into it. They were not allowed to franchise tag him. There was a lot of stipulations, all these things that they basically caved on. Nobody told them to do that. Dak Prescott's not the best quarterback in the league. I mean, he's a good quarterback, don't get me wrong, but he's not Mahomes or Josh or Lamar. So why is he getting the best contract at the time he signed it? You know, uh, nobody. Is that the Jets' fault? Did did the Jets have anything to do with that? We can't even find a quarterback, let alone, sign them to a contract. So, you know, I think the Cowboys are do business their way. And look, aside from last year, they were a 12-win team every year the last few years and went to the playoffs and had disappointing playoff exits. But you know, uh, we got to see. We got to see how they do. I was thinking about them. I wonder if they'll be a contender this year or not. They're pretty top heavy. I mean, they got Dak, they got CD, they got George Pickens now. The offensive line should be pretty good. Defense should be at least okay. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to compete or not. There's a lot of question marks in the NFC, I would say. But if you got a good offensive line, that's a good place to start. The Doster, Germaine Johnson got the speed bridge. No, he did not. Incorrect. No, he got the opposite. As far as I understand it, if I remember what he said, he did not get the speed bridge. He got the other one, which makes it more unlikely, which is why it takes longer to recover, but you get a stronger, better recovery. That's my remembrance of what he said. Speed bridge is like what you do when you want to come back faster, but there's an increased chance of re-injury, but you don't care about that because your time is limited. Like Aaron Rodgers got that because he wasn't worried about playing 3, 4, 5, 10 years. Germaine is on the other side of the spectrum. He needed to get the other kind, the more traditional, stabilizing kind, because he wants to have a long career. He's at the beginning of his career. My understanding is he got the opposite one of Rodgers, and that's better for long-term prognosis, which, if you're a young player like Johnson, that's what you want. Rodgers had to make the most of his time, so he was trying to get back that year. So he had to take on a little bit more risk. Remember, he was trying to come back that same year, like in December. He was trying to come back by Christmas, which would have been crazy, and he maybe would have done it if there was a reason for him to play, but then the Jets just stunk it all up. That would have been imagine that. Imagine that was the story. Can you imagine? Man, we could have had such a season in 2023. Either way, if Rodgers never gets hurt in 2023, we probably have a damn good season that we could have been proud of. One way or the other, we probably would have made the playoffs at least. And then, so that would have been one storyline. Would have been a pretty cool season. But then imagine we had played well enough to be close to the playoffs or in position to make the playoffs. And then Rodgers came back on Christmas. I think we had a game on Christmas Eve that he was targeting that year to come back. Can you imagine what the press and the hype, unprecedented recovery? Oh my God. And then he comes back and leads us to the playoffs, and then maybe we win a playoff game or something. I mean, that would have been incredible. But it didn't happen because we're the Jets. This is Coffee with Frankie, by the way. This is the coffee. I'm the Frankie. If you're new here, please hit the like button right below this video. It's very much appreciated. And if you're totally new here, why not think about subscribing? Hit the old subscribe button. It's very much appreciated. And leave a chat, leave a super chat. There's something new called the leaderboard of the chat. I'm not sure what to call it exactly, but YouTube implemented something new. The more chats you leave, the better. The more super chats you leave, the better. Basically, the more things you do, if you like the video, you get some points or something. I don't know. But then there's a leaderboard. There's a number 1, number 2, number 3. You don't want to be on the bottom. You want to be on the top. It's like life. Who wants to be on the bottom of life? Nobody. Everybody wants to be on top. So Now you can be on top in the chat, but you got to do stuff like leave a comment or uh, a super chat or something. You got to do something for the channel, and then you get some points, and then you move up the leaderboard. See how it works? That's how it works. Hawk is here. He says, good morning. Doster, you're right. The first article I read said he had it, but further research said he... Right, okay, good. I remembered it correctly. I thought I remembered it, Doster. Right, he had the traditional, and that's why he should be set up for success, hopefully, because he didn't need to rush it. There was no reason for him to. So that's good. Phil Adams, Rodgers and the Jets was a marriage made in hell. Well, things went sour. He got injured, Phil. I mean, think about it. That injury really, everything could have been fine. Everything could have been fine, but that injury just ruined it. I mean, so what are you going to do, man? As we all know, we're star crossed. But the Jet beat writers don't exactly have big news. The biggest news from the NFL is Levi Onwuzurike is out for the season with an ACL injury. The NFLPA board is expected to vote on a new interim executive director in time for training camp's widespread opening on Tuesday. Let me know if you're interested in that story. I could probably do a video on it. It's something I was toying with, but I don't know if too many people are interested in the goings on of the NFLPA. But it pertains to a lot of the things that we want to see as fans. Is the way we're going to get those things is through the negotiation of the CBA, and they just had Lloyd Howell step down, and so that's a big deal, in fact. But many football fans are not interested in the business side stuff. But Onwuzurike out for the year. NFLPA board will elect a new interim executive director and then get a new executive director, hopefully in time for the negotiations. And the Patriots have signed former Rams defensive tackle David Olajiga, native of England. He's joining on the IPP program. And as far as the Jets, I mean, people like Dick Chimney are not even filing columns anymore. The latest thing Dick Chimney has to say is about Marvin Jones. And he says former Jets linebacker Marvin Jones has led the Tulsa Oilers to the franchise's first playoff berth. Marvin, people may remember Marvin Jones. Marvin is the head coach, defensive coordinator, and director of operations for the IFL squad. You may say, what the hell's the IFL? Well, the IFL, or Indoor Football League, is a professional indoor American football league in the United States. It is considered the highest professional level of indoor football and the longest continuously running indoor football league in the country. As of the 2025 season, the league comprises 14 teams, split evenly between the Eastern Conference and Western Conference. So, Indoor Football League, Marvin Jones is the head coach, defensive coordinator, and director of operations for the Tulsa Oilers, and the franchise just made the playoffs for the first time ever. So congratulations to Marvin Jones. All right, Marvin, good job. We see you, buddy. Maybe Marvin Jones joins this staff at some point as a linebacker coach or something. That'd be pretty cool. So that's what they're talking about. So even our Jet reporters are talking about weird stuff, but soon they're going to, get into the real news. Rodgers would have gotten killed, and he did, behind that O-line the first season. I wouldn't say that. I mean, he played 4 plays, Goldstein. At this point, no news is almost the best news, indeed. Nuff said is here. Ciao, Frankie. I've been a Jets fan since Vinny Testaverde almost took us to the Super Bowl in 1998. It's been frustrating since then with Vinny's season-ending ACL surgery. Well, he didn't have ACL, he had an Achilles. He was the first Achilles that, the first Achilles quarterback that killed us in 1999, Super Bowl bound. Yeah, that was crazy. I remember those days. I was actually living in Staten Island at that time, if you can believe that. Staten Island, Staten Island, bagel stores on every corner. Gotta love Staten Island. But um, yeah, that was a golden age, and it was. I mean, for Jet fans, it goes all the way back to A.J. Dewey and the Mud Bowl, and there were so many almosts. Well, not so many. I mean, if you think about a team like the Buffalo Bills, for example, the Buffalo Bills have never won the Super Bowl, but they've been there 4 times and lost all 4. I mean, would you rather be them? I mean, we went there once and won it, and we haven't been able to get back there since 1969. But we had AJ Dewey in the Mud Bowl. We had the Cleveland Browns game where Gastineau had a roughing the quarterback penalty. We had I don't know. We'd have to utilize Green Bean, the Jets historian, to accurately go in the past. I'm not the best at that. But then, of course, Testaverde. We had that Denver Broncos game, and then AG was on that team and said we're going to get that back. So I think Jet fans were pretty excited. I'll be damned if we don't get that back, he said. I think Jet fans kind of like that one. AG. Yeah, where we were winning that game 10-0 at halftime, I think it was, and then there was a Curtis Martin fumble. Curtis Martin never fumbled, and he fumbles, and then we lost that game. And then, yeah, Testaverde, Achilles, and then we could never really recover from that. And then right after that season, then all the Belichick and Parcells nonsense. Belichick goes up to New England because Leon Hess died, and then the team was in the care and taking of the estate for a couple of years, and then we weren't sure who the new owner was going to be. So Belichick, that's what Belichick always cites as the reason he left, was he was unsure of the ownership situation, so didn't want to work for a bad owner. So he went up to the Patriots, and they had to give us a first-round pick and Curtis Martin. I think it was a first-round pick to acquire Belichick. People forget about that. I think that's how it worked, right? I don't know. See, I could be getting confused because I'm not the historian, man. That's why Green Bean's the historian. I'm not. I don't know. I get all confused. Jet 41. Marvin was a great linebacker at FSU back in the day. That's how old I am, Jet 41 says. Yeah, he's looking good. He's got the gray beard in this picture here that they showed. We can show this a little bit. Let's see if this will work. Yeah, here he is. Look at old Marvin. Former Jets linebacker. Marvin Jones, Jets. See, he uses a handle, still says Marvin Jones Jets. How about that? Leads the Tulsa Oilers to the franchise's first playoff berth. Marvin is the head coach, DC, and director of operations for the IFL squad. I mean, he's looking pretty good. Look at him. Look at him there. Got a smile on his face. Looking pretty nice. Maybe. I mean, with this, the nice thing about, this stuff, he's the head coach, he's the DC, he's the director of operations. That's a lot of experience and a lot of, different stuff that he's had to handle in his executive career, let's call it. So maybe we bring him as a linebacker coach, assistant linebacker coach or something if he wants to get back into the NFL. Be a very experienced guy, both from his playing days and in this career. Had a bunch of different scenarios he's had to deal with, I'm sure. It could be somebody we bring back, maybe. I'd like to see us do more of that, bring back the legends of the past, bring them back into the fold. Who knew that Marvin Jones was coaching the Tulsa Oilers? Nobody knew that until Dick Chimney told us. So Phil Adams been listening to the skinny lawyer fella Florio ripping the NFLPA. Interesting enough. Yeah, I might have to do a story on it. The NFLPA did not handle this situation well. They hired the basic premise of it is they hired this guy Lloyd Howell. He's a financial type, CFO type, and you figure, all right, they kind of need that, going up against um, the NFL owners. They need somebody who understands complex financial things. Okay, cool. But the problem is when they hired him, they altered the hiring process and made it very sketchy, and they gave the executive committee and other members of the union very little information about Lloyd Howell. This was all done by J.C. Treader, apparently. And so basically, they didn't give enough information to the executive committee. It apparently was not apparently and allegedly was not a normal hiring process. They get him in there. Then you look into his background. First of all, his main employment prior to this was working for Booz Allen Hamilton, who has a lot of financial irregularities and fines that they've had to pay for fraud. That's not good. And then, second, the thing that came up this week, the reason he had to leave is because he also worked for the Carlyle Group, which is a private equity firm, as a consultant, and he refused to give that up when he became the executive director of the union. The problem there is the Carlyle Group is one of the 5 private equity groups that have been approved to purchase shares in NFL teams. They haven't done so yet, but they're looking to buy into the teams. So you can't have a guy heading up the labor side and also looking to work with a company that's getting involved in the management side. That's a conflict, a major conflict. And even though he makes like $3.5 million for the union, that's his salary. Seems a little excessive to me, but what do I know? Um, he refused to give up this consulting gig with the Carlyle Group. So, like $3.5 million salary wasn't enough. He had to also continue consulting for the Carlyle Group. Weird. So now he finally stepped down after more was revealed. He also went to a strip club with union employees as a sort of like a team building exercise. Very stupid. So once that came out, he was like, oh boy, they found out about me. They found out. So this guy apparently was just sketchy from the beginning, Lloyd Howell. And the reason he got in there was because J.C. Treader pushed him in there. So now, guess who's in line to replace him, according to the reports? J.C. Treader and some other guy. So the whole thing is no good from the union side. This is not good. They need to find somebody who's beyond reproach and who's excellent. We need somebody representing these players who knows what the hell they're doing and doesn't have conflicts of interest and sketchiness all over the place. For example, it's not illegal or anything to go to a strip club and use organizational money. That's not illegal, but it doesn't look great. That's sketchy as hell. Like, what are you doing team building in a strip club? That's not, that's sketchy. When you do team building exercises in corporate America, you do things like, go to Dave and Buster's. You go to, you go out, you go to a restaurant, you get a nice dinner. You you go to one of those rooms. What are those things called where they lock you in a room and then you have to figure out how to get out? It's like a puzzle. You got to find this clue and that clue, and everybody has to problem solve. Forget what they call it. But they lock you in a room or a sequence of rooms, and you got to kind of put together the clues and figure out how to figure out a mystery or whatever. Those are typical team building exercises. Not going to the strip club and seeing, lady boobs a lot. No, that's not what that's not good, Lloyd. Sorry, Lloyd. You'd think a CFO would know that. So anyway, I don't know. That's the basics of it. I could do a video on it. It's important to us, but I think if I did a video, I would summarize that, but then also say why it's important to fans. There's a couple of issues that are important to us that we want to see happen in football. For example, we want grass fields, all grass fields, to reduce injuries and to keep the players we love watching on the field. We don't want to see the backups. We want to see the real players, as many as possible. And, real grass fields will reduce injuries between 30 and 40%, leg injuries. And that's good. Will it reduce all injuries? No, there'll still be injuries, but we want as few injuries as possible. As an example, you're not going to get all grass fields unless you negotiate for it. In order to negotiate for it, you're going to need a hell of a negotiator on the player side, because that's not something that um, the owners are going to give you very easily. They're not, because it's a lot of money that they're going to be giving up in turning over these fields. It's a lot harder to maintain those fields. So if you want it, you're going to have to give up. It's going to be a hell of a negotiation. Another thing is we want multiple bye weeks. We want more bye weeks. We want more recovery, and that is also an injury issue. For example, if you're playing on a Thursday night, you should not be playing on Sunday. You should have a bye on Sunday, then play on Thursday. Things like that. Extend the season out. Well, you're going to have to negotiate that. You're not just going to get it. The NFL's just not going to give you stuff. So not only do you need a non-sketchy dude in charge of this, you need like a monster. You need a some sort of superstar, and they cannot be sketchy at all. So that's why it matters to the fans. Is things we want as fans, as viewers of the product. Let's say that we would like. Well, not everybody cares about grass, and not everybody cares about bye weeks. But the football nerds, the things we've been talking about, either you should or you do. You do or you should. So that would basically be the video. But I have a feeling like 20 people would watch it. Yeah, Sanchez in the playoffs. Harlan still lives on Staten Island. Well, then Harlan. Bagel stores on every corner. What's that pizza place with the pink building near New Dorp High School? That's the best pizza. I forget the name of it. Best pizza on Staten Island. It's a pink building, and it's near New Dorp High School. Marvin and Aaron played together as Jets? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe, with all this experience that Marvin Jones is getting, it's kind of interesting. He's wearing a lot of hats, which means, he has a lot of experience dealing with different things. I think it's pretty cool. Bring him on. Jojo, haven't seen Green Bean since the end of the season. Hopefully he'll be back soon. He's back. I saw him have a live stream last month. I don't, when you're a content creator, you can't really keep up on other content creators that much. It's hard to. But I think he's doing videos. I saw him do a live stream maybe a month ago. From what I remember, I don't know. The Jets signed Curtis Martin in free agency with a poison pill. No, they traded for him, Dodes. I remember. What, didn't we trade for him? Wasn't he part of, maybe I'm misremembering. We did have to trade. We did get compensation for losing Belichick. That I know. And maybe it was just draft picks. I don't know. I get things mixed up. And that's why I'm not the historian. But I do know that we got compensated by the league. Maybe it was just draft picks then. We got compensated by the league for losing Belichick because of the way the Patriots stole him, those bastards, and goes on a 20-year run of unprecedented success, those bastards. I know we got compensated. In my mind, I thought we got Martin, but maybe I'm wrong. I forget. I don't know. Oh, Green Bean's hitting the gym. All right. All right. Good to know, Doster. Chad Pennington. Yeah, Pennington was very underrated. People, I would say Chad Pennington was one of our best quarterbacks. I mean, you got Namath. You had the one season of, what's funny about Testaverde? He had that one miracle season with us. Look at the rest of his career. It's pretty terrible. But he played a lot. He had a long career. People kept giving him chances. He threw so many interceptions. But that one season he had with us, it was awesome. It was his best year of his career, and he never really did it again. And uh, so we had that, and then we had Bennington, and then we had Sanchez, who wasn't good, but the teams were just stacked, loaded. All he had to do was just hand the ball off for the most part. Um, and then we have not been able to have a quarterback since then, as we all know. Most recent division win, 2002. Wow, 23 years ago. Wasn't he also connected to 33rd team? Lloyd Howell? No. Lloyd Howell was not connected to 33rd team. Team building at the strip? Yeah, that's what they said. I was like, what the hell is this? this is this is very bad. Like, if you don't know that this is bad, you shouldn't be running anything, let alone an organization. People need to understand the NFLPA is a massive organization. They have a venture capital arm, they have a philanthropy arm, they have all this stuff. It's not like the old days in 1987, a bunch of ragtag morons. I mean, this is a large organization with a lot going on. And so, therefore, you need somebody who's like a killer executive. And I think they thought they had one, but I guess this Lloyd Howell guy fooled them. I don't know. I mean, he's a CFO, so obviously he knows the financial side. But, to me, you kind of need a CFO and then you need a CEO who is, more in the strategy operations side of it. And then the CFO just is the bean counter. Make sure we got all our tax stuff right, et cetera, et cetera. It's not a good idea to have the CFO become the CEO. Those are two separate and distinct roles, and they're all usually two separate and distinct personalities. The CFO is usually way more reserved, careful, um, conservative in terms of we're not taking any risk averse. The CEO is more forward thinking, aggressive, strategic. We got to go for this, and therefore you have a good balance between the two in an optimal organization. They should be two different people and two different personality types that balance each other out. Yeah, in my opinion. In my opinion, as an MBA holder, Phil Adams, strippers on the team. Strippers don't get any extensions. They're working off the books, Phil. Shared secrets build trust. Lady Boobs a lot. Yeah, Lady Boobs a lot. She's off the books. She doesn't get a contract. She's strictly cash and carry. You know what I'm saying? Problem solving in a room. Phil Adams, understand FIFA weren't over impressed with MetLife grass, so no chance it'll cope with NFL players ripping it to pieces. Well, then get a new stadium and do it right. They need to do it the way that probably the problem, Phil Adams, was that they just put in some temporary crap for the FIFA, and they said, okay, this is the requirement. FIFA wasn't going to show up otherwise, so they put it in there. They put in some temporary crap. They need to go rethink the entire freaking thing. Do the same. They need the same system that Green Bay and Kansas City have, and Buffalo. It's a whole system. It's not just you roll in some stupid over the. There's concrete, and then we put grass. These plots above it. That's not going to cut it. That's not what we need. We need an entire real system. We need the Green Bay system, Kansas City system, Buffalo system for the field. It's a whole system. It's not just plots of grass over concrete. That's probably what they did over at MetLife, bunch of dummies. They need to rethink the whole thing. And they need to get out of that stupid stadium in the first place. And they need to relocate to Queens and do it right. For God's sakes, they need to team up with the Mets guy, Stevie Cohen, and build out something amazing in Queens that's a major construction project for New York City, and go play in New York. You're the New York frickin' Jets. You're supposed to be built for this shit. That's what I was told. And you can't be built for this shit and go play in New Jersey. What is that about? Why are we called the New York Jets then? We have no connection to New York whatsoever, except historically. We don't play there. We don't practice there. We're not headquartered there. We don't do anything there. We don't even go to training camp. Why don't we even have training camp at Hofstra or some, not Hofstra, but or some SUNY Oneonta or SUNY Plattsburgh or SUNY someplace. Something in New York, someplace on Long Island somewhere. Let's do something in New York. We're supposed to be the New York Jets, for God's sakes. But that's what they need. They don't need some temporary, stupid, grass thing over the concrete. That's ridiculous. No, they need to redo the whole thing, and you need to think big. And yes, you need to pay for it. Yes, you do. I mean, this is big business now. This is big boy business. I mean, think about the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos got sold to the Walmart people, and the first year that they were there, they just bought the team. They come in, but shake everybody's hand. Yay, we're here now. And it was toward the end of the NFL season, and they had like one home game left, and they had an opportunity to. For some reason, they recommended that they could change out the field for that one game or not, but there was some problem with the field surface. I don't know. They could leave it. It was okay if they left it, but it was recommended that they change it out if they wanted to minimize injury risk. Problem was, it was just one game left in the season, and it was going to cost like $800,000 or $1 million for one game to change it out to a safer surface. And guess what the Walmart people said? Yeah, go do it. Go do it. That's the kind of mindset you need around here. We need ownership to go, you know what? This is important. We need to rethink the entire thing. It's good that they're rethinking a lot of things at the Jets in terms of the front office and the sports staff and the other employees and the player development people like Justice Jones and the psychological aspect, the success coach like Eric Corum. And okay, so we're trying to redo all that. What about the stadium? The stadium is massively important, and that includes the surface, but also look at what they're building up in Buffalo. They're building the perfect stadium for Buffalo. Some of the amenities there are amazing, and they're doing the exact right thing. What's their name? The Pagulas, whatever their name is, the Pagulas. They're doing it right. They're doing it right. Because when you do things right, you build the loyalty of the fan base, and it just continues onward, and you get residual benefits from that. So if you just think in the short term of, this is going to cost a lot of money, you're never going to get anywhere with this. This is big boy business now. This isn't the IFL. This is the NFL. This is huge business. You need to start thinking bigger. And hopefully, what I'm hopeful for is that Woody Johnson, with his latest purchase of a football team, a true football team, a soccer team, called the Crystal Palace. Oh, look at this Crystal Palace that we have here. Oh, it's a wonderful Crystal Palace. Well, the Crystal Palace Football Club. Well, he bought a 43% share of that, and guess who the other owners are? Josh Harris and David Blitzer, and another guy from England. But Harris and Blitzer are the people who bought the Commanders and the 76ers. And for both of those franchises, they're doing right by them in every which way conceivable possible. They're fighting to get this stadium deal done. They're working with the politicians. It's hard work. It's not easy, but they're doing it. And they're trying to do the right thing by the fan bases of those franchises. And hopefully, Woody Johnson being business partners now with Josh Harris and David Blitzer, hopefully they rub off on him, and the light bulb goes off, and he's like, you know what? We need to change this. This is not good. I mean, that stadium can stay there for concerts and whatever else, but it shouldn't be the home of the Jets. It's not right for that. Just let it be a fine, profitable venue for other things, but we need something else for the Jets. Escape room, that's what it's called. The Jet fans We can't figure out how to escape. Yeah, that's what it's called, an escape room, right? Harlan says that pizza place wasn't near Newdorp. It was, oh, it closed. What? Isn't it near Newdorp? It was on Highland Boulevard. That's correct. It closed 2 years ago. Well, you see, I move out of the New York City area and this place can't stand up. Well, that's too bad. You got to blame the Staten Islanders. You know, how do you not support that place? That pizza was amazing. The best place now is called Round Pie. They have two places. All right. Well, I don't know. I haven't been back in a while. Doster says we got a first and the Pats got fined. Oh, I guess Martin wasn't part of the deal then. Joe Mike, the trade involved the Patriots in a first round pick, a 2001 fourth round pick, a 2001 seventh round pick. In return, the Jets gave him Belichick. Well, I guess it was worth it for the Patriots, huh? Vinny also took us to the playoffs in 2001. Still remember that he led the last second victory. That I do not remember at all. See, like this one, and that's why I'm not the Jets historian. Enough said. I will say, better to go to Green Bean with these type of things. Like this right here, I don't remember this at all. 2001. Well, that was after 9/11. I was probably had my brain scrambled. After 9/11, I thought I was going back into the military. Remember that? So 9/11. So I got out of the military in '98. But then after you're done with your tour of duty, you're on what's called individual. I forget what they call individual inactive reserve or something like that. So they could call you back at any time for like the next 5 years. So then I get out in '98, and then 3 years later, 9/11 happens. And when 9/11 happened, nobody knew what the hell was going on for the most part. I thought we were getting into World War III. So I was like, oh man, I'm going back to the military. That was a scary time, man, for a lot of reasons. But I do not remember what. So I don't think my mind was really on the Jets at that point in time, to be honest with you. So I don't remember this at all. 100% says Phil Adams. Yeah. Right, Phil? We got to get these people on board with the right mindset. Now, what we've seen so far from the Jets this offseason has been promising. You know, we're seeing some signs that maybe we might get some change out of this ownership group. Something a little different than what they've been doing, which has been terrible. You know, and so now you got to think at some point he starts thinking about that goddamn stadium. It's getting old. I mean, what are the Giants thinking about this stadium also? I mean, let's think about the Giants for a second. I mean, the Giants are one of the blue blood franchises in the NFL, and they have been downtrodden for a long time now, along with us. They're in the ghetto with us, the Giants, and that's unusual, of course. In our entire history, it's usually been the Giants were good, at least in my childhood, the Lawrence Taylor era and Phil Simms and all them. And then you had the Eli era, of course, and after that, it's fallen off the fallen off the tracks for them. And so, what is that? I mean, they have good ownership. Everybody says they have, the Mara family and the Tisch family and all these families and blue bloods and all. What are they thinking with this stadium? I haven't heard any kind of rumblings from the Giants side about this stadium either. I mean, why are they okay with this stupid stadium? I mean, it's sure for us. I mean, the Giants built this stadium for the most part, and then we kind of glommed on the end and said, "Yeah, we'll split it with you." And and they said, "Okay, and split the cost with us." Okay. Um, but it's been a couple decades now, What are the Giants, who are generally thought of to be a good franchise, generally well run, although they've been in the ghetto with us here the last what 4, 5, 6 years now. Um, what are they thinking about this stadium? I mean, really, realistically, the Giants should be somewhere in Manhattan or the Bronx, and the Jets should be somewhere on Queens or Long Island. God forbid Brooklyn. That's really the way it should be. Back to the historical, you know, locations. Uh, but I haven't heard anything from anyone related to the Giants, related to this stadium at all. So I don't know, man. It's a mystery. Party with Peg and Artie is here. Sluggo's here. Shows you how good GM is important. Well, you wonder if Joe Douglas was not allowed to do these type of contracts by Woody. I'm pretty sure that Joe knows how to do these. Maybe Woody maybe this is a change of heart of Woody's. We never got these things done early before. Of course, we didn't have players really to do them with. For the most part, we didn't have any players we wanted to keep to long-term deals. But maybe Joe was not allowed to do certain things. Well, I would just say, Phil, look at what Buffalo's doing. Buffalo's New York State. They had to deal with the municipalities. They had to deal with the governor. They had to deal with the local community. You do what you got to do. And look at what Josh. I would just say again, look at what Josh Harris and David Blitzer are doing. They're dealing with Philadelphia politics and Washington D.C. politics. Anything harder than Washington D.C. politics? I don't think so. And then Philadelphia with those crazy people. I mean, so Josh Harris and David Blitzer are the exemplars of what we want to do, how we want to approach things. And it's hard. It's not easy. They also have Magic Johnson as a partner as well. Very smart dude. Obviously, old Magic Johnson. But I can't imagine Washington anything harder than Washington D.C. and they're navigating that. And then in addition, they are also the majority partners in Crystal Palace. So I don't know about the politics of England very much at all, or what Crystal Palace is, etc. Um, except that the previous owners had a lot of problems navigating even the soccer club. So, so I would just, look. Is it hard? Yeah, it's hard, but you got to do the right thing. I mean, Woody's not getting any younger. I mean, like how many, like just do the right thing for the community. Give back. This is the greatest way you could give back possible is to do a deal in New York for this. And, and if you do it, you got to do it right. Just like Stevie Cohen. You got to think big. Todd is here. Enough said, right, for the Giants. It was just those 2 Super Bowl victories. Don't get me wrong, those 2 were incredible runs they had. Yeah, the Giants have. How many Super Bowls do the Giants have? 3 or 2? The Giants have. I don't know. I don't know, but I don't want to go down history. I don't want to go down memory lane. I'm not great at it. I have to look stuff up, man. Like I'm a guy. Let me look this up. I don't remember shit. I'm not the historian. Green Bean's the historian. So that's where we are. No further NFL news. No further Jet news at the moment. The rookies are reporting, so they're here. Do, do, do. But people aren't writing any columns just yet. I guess they're probably just gearing up for. This is the last. If you think about it, if you're a Jet beat reporter, this is probably the last day or two that you're not going to have, like a significant, workload. Oh, enough said says 4. They got 4. See, and this is the problem. Like the Giants got 4, the Patriots got 6, the Steelers have 6, I think, 5 or 6. I mean, they're one of the great franchise, the Packers with all theirs from the early days. They're one of these franchises, and they're on hard times right now. I mean, their ownership has to be driving, going crazy. Like we're one of the premier teams. What are we doing? They've been down for a while now. Um, so it's very strange that they are putting. I mean, what does Giants ownership think about this stadium? Like we're one of the premier teams. Okay, we did this stadium. We thought it was going to be great back in the day when we built it, 2000, whenever it was. I think it was 25 years ago. But a lot changes in 25 years, and now we see what the stadium is, and it's not. It's not a premier destination. Why aren't the Giants ownership team thinking big about what they can do in New York to create one of these, destinations? All the teams that build these things, they not only build a stadium these days, you also build a community around it. You build hotels and maybe a casino and a bunch of shopping centers, and you make it a place people want to actually go and do things, not just go to the game. Go to the game, sure, but hey, let's go a few hours before the game. Let's do some shopping. Let's do some, let's go to the casino. Let's go here. Let's go there. Let's go to the restaurant, and so forth and so on. And so, why aren't the Giants thinking big that way? What they could do in probably not in Manhattan, but maybe up in the Bronx or somewhere else. I don't know. Put it on Staten Island. Who knows? Replace that purple building pizza place. Something like that. But I don't understand why the Giants aren't thinking big and saying, this hasn't really worked out. We'll keep this as a separate business, but for the Giants, we need to move to someplace else. This isn't working out because I don't think it's working out for them. Is any Giant fan happy with MetLife Stadium? I don't think so. I don't think so. Sluggo says, I'm more excited about this RPO offense than I was with Rodgers first coming. Well, that'll be the interesting thing to watch this year on the offense. I mean, it's possible that the offense is really, really good. It's possible. You can see a pathway. There's a pathway for this being a really good offense and a run first offense with a lot of guys putting up a lot of yardage, including Fields and Hall and Isaiah Davis and Braylon Allen and all these people. It's possible. And if you get a good running game, well, then you really should have a really good passing game because teams are going to have to cheat to try to stop the run, and then you just throw it over their heads, bada bing, bada boom. But it all comes back to blocking. That's what it comes down to. So we'll see how good this offensive line is or is not. If we get really good blocking, I mean, could be, could be, could be. Um, but the defense, I'm a little confused. I'm a little confused. I think the more I think about it, if you think those defensive tackles are just kind of placeholders, we need another safety. We need another safety badly. One who can actually tackle people. Let's show this so people understand. The fam needs to understand. Alan Dodds, the entire stadium experience at MetLife sucks. The parking design. Yeah, that's the thing that I don't understand how both the Giant ownership and the Jet ownership don't see this. I don't get it. Let's share this screen so people understand where we are. Let's just show the numbers. As you can see here, 2025 cap space. As of right now, we're 10th in the league. Here we are. $30 million. We got plenty of money. And we got still have needs. So we have the 10th most cap space in the league. You look at the Patriots, they have the most. So we have the 10th most cap space in the league. We got plenty of money for one or two more, significant signings, and I don't understand why we're not making them now. So the Patriots have the most. They're kind of like in a rebuild year. I would say watch out for the Patriots next year. This year they'll kind of be an interesting team, up and down probably, as they continue the rebuild under Vrabel. Then next year they'll probably be really solid. But they still have tons of cap money. But look at this. You go to the bottom of the list. Look at the Bills and the Dolphins and the Giants. They're in trouble, man. They're in trouble. They're going to have to convert some money. They're going to have to do some conversions to get some cap relief here probably soon. But these teams are in trouble. I mean, they're on thin ice. Now, the Bills roster is stacked, so they don't care. The Bills are going for the Super Bowl this year for sure. I mean, so their roster is just stacked to the brim with talent, so they don't care. But the Dolphins, who are kind of like, maybe fighting for the playoffs, maybe not, that's no bueno. But we got plenty of money, and so here's the Bleacher Report on the best free agent still available. And there's wide receiver. We don't care about that, in my opinion. Cornerback, we don't care about that. Cornerback. Guard, we don't care about that. Cornerback, guard. And then we get down here. They say Justin Simmons, 8th best. Safety Justin Simmons was released before signing, 31 years old. 62 tackles, 7 passes defended while allowing 81.9 opposing passer rating. He desires to land with a contender, but they all say that. So, if he can't get a deal with anyone else, maybe he'll come to our team. Julian Blackmon is also available. Maybe he goes to the Eagles. They're saying the Eagles, the Steelers make a lot of sense for Simmons. The Steelers have a lot of older players, obviously. But then what about Zadarius Smith? So here he is. Smith should start generating some serious late offseason buzz. Though Smith was traded, he recorded 5.5 sacks with the Browns in 2023 and another 5 with Cleveland in 2024. After the trade, he recorded 4 sacks and 15 quarterback pressures. So he's not, amazing, but he's better than what we got. While Detroit allowed Smith to walk early this offseason, they should strongly consider bringing him back now. They're saying he should go back to the Lions. The Lions did little to bolster their pass rush aside from re-signing Marcus Davenport. A return to Baltimore. Baltimore loading up on talent. Of course, they're making a Super Bowl run as well. Return to Baltimore could also make sense for Smith. But they need depth behind Odafe Oweh and 34-year-old Kyle Van Noy. Smith spent his first 4 seasons in Baltimore before signing with the Green Bay Packers at 2019. So they're saying Ravens, Lions. Makes sense. Maybe these people don't want to come here. I get it. But at some point, what about a Julian Blackmon? He's not a big name, but he was better than Simmons last year. And he's more of a strong safety type. And he's only 26, 27 years old. And it would only cost about $6 or $7 million. Get him in here. We got to get some people. We got to improve this defense. I mean, if we could make a couple of signings, the defense could be okay ish. Sluggo, yes. For educational purposes, the extensions are extensions. As I've said numerous times, the extension just signed have zero effect on their current contracts. Zero effect on their current contracts, as I've said 1,000 times. It's an extension. They don't kick in for 2 years from now. They're going to play out their rookie contract this year, next year, then the 32 and 30 million contracts kick in. So it has zero effect, despite what Rosenblatt and many people have written. And that's why you probably think it has an effect, because Rosenblatt and others lied to you and told you, oh, the Jets have all this cap space because they need to clear out cap room for the big extensions they're going to do. And old Frankie told you, no, that's a lie. Rosenblatt's a lying idiot. It has no effect because it's going to be an extension, which is what it is. Phil Adams says MetLife was built at exactly the wrong time. The move to sports cities came just after. That's a good point. But we can fix it. We don't have to stay stuck in the past, Phil. Getting the Olympics would have been ideal. Jets, Giants taking over that. Yeah. But, right. So, like the idea of these sports complexes and sports cities and, like Patriot Way and this and that. The Patriots did it. The Bills are doing it. These days, this is the way it is now, like 2025. In 2025, that's what you do. This is the trend now. In the 70s, there was the trend for the cookie cutter stadiums with AstroTurf. That was horrible. Then in the 90s, we got these sort of smaller stadiums that just had cool, like local flavors, like the Baltimore Orioles Stadium and stuff like that. And then now it's no, you got to think bigger and you got to make it a destination, a travel destination. Even when folks from out of town want to come see the Jets or want to come see their own team, you want to make money off of them in the restaurants, in the hotels, in the casinos, in the retail outlets. You want to make money off of these people. So you have to think bigger and that's the way we think now. So we can right or wrong. It's been 25 years. You can keep that thing there for concerts and whatever. It's still going to make money off concerts. You can have 10,000 Bruce Springsteen concerts. He'll play there all night long with his stupid songs. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't also do something else for the football team. It's a new business. We keep the stadium its own business. The stadium is its own business. It's called like MetLife Stadium LLC or something. It's its own company. It does its own thing. I mean, it doesn't do its own thing, but it's a separate business. So you just keep it a separate business. So what? We have this MetLife Stadium LLC business, and then we have the Jets who go play somewhere else in Jet Park, Jet Met Complex in Queens. I mean, how cool would that be to have a Jets Mets super complex? Jets Mets super complex. That's what we need around here, And it's just like a sports thing, and you just have all these things, including a casino there. I mean, what could be better than that? And, lots of sports restaurants and so forth and so on. It'd be so awesome. But is it hard? Yeah, yes, it's hard. But that's, you have these people who are successful. They should be able to hire and consult with and find people who know how to do these things. I don't know how to do them, but these are people with money. Sluggo says Jets need to leave Jersey. Yeah. Well, I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, some of the designs made it look okay, but then you saw what it looked like, and it was just a giant air conditioner. And I don't think anybody looked at it like that. I think the designer at the time made it look like it was going to be incredible, and it wasn't. So I don't know who designed it, but the newer stadiums are all experiences, right? That's what you want. You want people to get excited, like the Las Vegas Stadium and the one in Los Angeles, as I understand it, are amazing. SoFi, I understand those are amazing experiences. That's what you want. That's what people want. That's where the market is. They don't want to just watch a game. They want to have an experience. This was an amazing experience. And if you think about it, the NFL is trying to expand to a more female demographic. That's what this flag football is all about. That's what Taylor Swift is all about. That's what a lot of these marketing efforts are all about. Well, the female demographic doesn't just want to sit there and watch, tight ends run routes all day. They want to have an experience, you know, and it's a beautiful marketing idea because you're really expanding your you're expanding your market base. It's another. That's the way they should really sell it. Look, it's not just let's build something for the football nerds. No, we're trying to reach out to women in every way possible. This is another way. You give them lots of shopping to do, restaurants, give them an experience, and then also go to the game. That's a way to expand out from just the football nerd who wants to watch a football game. It's good marketing. Trump should campaign and build it. Trump, my theory is if he's in good health after this administration, he should buy the Jets from Woody. And he's like the one person who Woody might consider selling to. And then once he owns it and his family, the Trump organization, he's got sons and daughters, or one daughter, I think. That's the one person who could actually do this. I think Woody, I just don't think Woody has the balls. But Trump, he's a builder, at heart. So he could do it. But that's in 4 years. He would have to be in good health. He's going to be like 83 when this term is up. So, it's getting up there. Yeah, Joe. Run stoppers, but we've heard nothing. So, look, if it happens, it's going to be come out of the blue because the Jets are not leaking anything. I mean, Connor Hughes is saying nothing. Connor Hughes hasn't tweeted in weeks. Somebody should put an APB out for Connor Hughes. I got a list of all the, Jet beat writers. The roster moves. Connor Hughes said nothing. These minor roster moves about Mason Taylor and then Germaine and Irv Charles and Aaron Smith. He said nothing. The last tweet by Connor Hughes was 3 days ago, 3 days ago, and it's about the Sopranos. I mean, so why I'm saying that is he's the type of guy, if he's not getting fed information, he has nothing. He hasn't tweeted out anything informationally news-wise since I'm scrolling through here. This isn't even really news, like 5-6 days ago. He's tweeting about the Sopranos. This is because he's not getting any information from the team. That's how these people operate. And agents, there's no real information needed to come out from agents right now. So, and that just tells you if they do something, we're not going to know about it in advance, Joe. But maybe they think these guys they got can do it, and maybe with cover 1 and cover 4, which I'm convinced we're going to play, which is something I'm going to watch this year. Cover 1 and cover 4 are going to be our number one alignments. In which case, you need a nice safety insert to come down and make some tackles. I don't understand why we don't go get Julian Blackmon for $7 million. It'd be a big upgrade. I mean, if you had a safety combo of Blackmon and Cisco, you'd feel a lot better, wouldn't you? Maybe some of you don't know about Julian Blackmon. He's a pretty solid player. He's out there. He's 26. I think he's 26 or 27 years old. Only going to cost you 5, 6, 7 million. We got plenty of space. I just showed you the space. So why? If we're going to play cover 1 and cover 4, in which case the safety is going to be down in the box, and that's how we're going to play the run with numbers. Okay, that kind of makes some sense, but then you need a safety who can tackle people. And that's where Blackmon would come in as a big upgrade over Cisco. You'd like to have Cisco back and then Blackmon in the box, and then that's a nice combo. Harlan says, my favorite sports stadium is Fenway Park. Yeah, I've been there once or maybe twice. It's a fun experience just because it's so historical. I've also been to Wrigley Field, which is excellent. Frankie, Jets Mets super complex makes too much sense. I know. I don't understand why these people don't think big. If I were rich, if I were wealthy, and I had as much money as Woody Johnson, I'd be dreaming about doing projects like that. Why not? You're 77 years old, whatever you are. Why not start thinking about laying out some capital for a long-term project, which is better? He's got young children. Think about it. Wouldn't you want to start a long? Now it's not going to make money, for a while, but so what? It's a long-term project that you're going to leave to your kids. Wouldn't you want to do something dramatic that would improve the lives of New Yorkers and get, people happy, that get a good reputation for yourself and your family, which hasn't been great really over the years. People love Stevie Cohen, right? That's a slimy Wall Street guy, but people love him because of what he's doing with the Mets, and he's making all the right moves, and they're starting to compete. You know, looking pretty good for the Mets this year. I think the last time I checked. I'm not following baseball that much, but you know what I mean. He's at least trying, and he put together a plan for a Mets uh, complex. I'm not sure where that stands at the moment, but people love him. He's trying. He's trying and doing the right things. So wouldn't you want to do that even from a family reputation standpoint? I mean, at some point you're going to have to give this stuff up to your children. Do you want them to inherit the reputation of Woody Johnson, the stingy, meddling, bonehead owner of the Jets? You want that's the reputation of your family that you want to hand down to your children? That's not good. Even from a selfish standpoint, looking at it from the Woody Johnson, perspective, you know, his main company, by the way, is called the Johnson Company. Super creative. Um, but uh, and same thing with the Maras and the Tishes and the, and so forth. The Giants owners. I just don't understand why everybody's okay with this stupid stadium. These are wealthy, wealthy people. You'd think they'd want to really uh, do what the Pagulas are doing. I mean, look at Buffalo. I mean, they have the weather. They're getting a grass field, by the way. They're getting a grass field, and they're in Buffalo weather. In Buffalo, freaking Buffalo. Hello, and they're building a beautiful stadium, and they're doing everything right, and they're getting massive. Everybody loves them as a family. Loves that family, and they own the Sabres, I guess, also. So you know, that's what you want to do. That's the model. Josh Harris, David Blitzer, the Pagulas. Okay. That's the model. Look around. Figure it out. I mean, they can't be that insulated where they just think we're doing great. Well, it's going so great. Like, do they really just sit like that meme where that guy, the dude sitting there, and the entire place is on fire, and he said, "This is fine. This is fine. Everything going great. Oh, this is so great." And the whole house is on fire. They can't be that insulated where they just think everything's going great. I mean, geez, Louise. Phil Adams, as an outsider, UK, going to Wrigley Field was pretty special, and both the stadiums in Seattle were impressive. Yeah, Wrigley Field was cool. I think the people who watch those Cub games, the people of Chicago, one of my favorite cities. The people are fantastic. They drink a lot of beer. A lot of beer. You got to give it to them. You got to give it to them. They are beer drinkers. Boy, oh boy. Um, but the atmosphere is fantastic. The club hasn't won very much. So awesome stadium, awesome beer drinking, awesome experience. Uh, Seattle, I would never go out to Seattle myself. That's just a little far For old Frankie, that's a little far. Yeah, and plus, of course, you should probably do a dome or some sort of semi-dome or retractable dome. Do it right. Don't skimp. Figure it out. Whatever it's going to be. You know. Yeah, well, but that stadium was had to get knocked down. So now you're going to have to get excited knowing that Aaron Judge and Trent Grisham played on the same stadium that you're looking at. Oh yes, Hank G he was looking into purchasing, well, he was thinking of purchasing the Jets. He was thinking of purchasing the Bills. He tried to purchase it. The Bagulas beat him out. He was thinking about purchasing the Dallas Cowboys at one time, but he looked at the financials and didn't like it. And Jerry Jones looked at the financials and was like, "I'll buy it." And turns out Jerry Jones was correct. So yeah, Trump has had an interest in purchasing, and then of course he was involved with the USFL, which didn't go well. But um, so he owned the Jersey Generals, if you remember that. So he's had an interest. He's a sports fan, and he's had an interest in NFL football for a long time. There's some. Uh, I'm sure there's some acrimony between the current NFL owners and Trump because of what he did with the USFL. He wanted to challenge the NFL and have the USFL play in the fall, which was not a smart idea, and he lost. So I don't know if they would let him into the club. It is a small club of 31 owners. The Green Bay Packers are owned by, of course, the fans, including myself. Um, but I don't know if they'd let him in. But if he made a big enough offer, probably have to pay a premium. Connor Hughes is out playing golf. Yeah, but he's got no information. I mean, if he had information, he would just tweet it from the golf course. Remember, reporting these days is just tweeting. That's it. It's very simple and easy. It's like the easiest job of all time. You get information from an agent and you put it out on Twitter. Wow, quite a skill set you have there. Maybe you can put out a tweet from the golf course. Sit on your little golf cart. Wait, hang on a second. I got to send out a tweet. Okay, back to golf. Jersey Generals drafted Herschel Walker. Yeah, and they had what's his name, Doug Flutie on that team. Huge problem he's covering. I don't think that's a problem. He's not tweeting anything. I guess the Giants aren't saying anything either. Got his golf game. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these guys have to get their vacations in sometime, and they're about to hit the heavy, where they actually have to do their job. They have to actually go to One Jets Drive, show up for the press conferences, ask the questions, go to the open practices, the parts they're allowed to see. They're going to have to do their job now. So they're just getting back from vacation, and it's about to start rolling. It's about to start rolling. Dennis Quaid, Dennis something. Sorry, I can't read that. My favorite stadium is an 80-foot Samsung TV. Okay, good for you. The Jets deserve no more money from me until we make the goddamn playoffs. Okay, cool. Good for you. Joe Mike, Brick Stadium. Stadium de Brick. Brick by brick, we're building this thing. Did you know it's a euphemism for my penis? Bill's getting the best heated grab. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, what they're doing, like, how can you, according to, yeah, how can you, I mean, look at what the Bagulas are doing. They're doing everything right. They're getting protection for the fans also from the weather. They got advanced snow melting something. They got all kinds of stuff up there, man. It's amazing from what they're saying. We'll see what it is when it comes out, and I think that's next year, so we'll be able to see it. But it's heated. It takes care of the snow, It gives coverage to like 85% of the fans are covered from the weather. I mean, it's amazing. They're doing all the right things. They decided not to have a retractable dome because they wanted the snow because they feel like that's an advantage for them. Okay, you know, now it's go time for them. I mean, they need to. And, as a football fan, I'm going to watch the Bills not as a competitor. I'm not going to get mad at the Bills winning this year or anything. I'm just going to watch them because they should be a really good team. And Josh Allen is fun to watch if you take the I hate him because he's in our division thing out of it. I mean, how is Josh Allen not fun to watch? Same thing with Lamar Jackson. I mean, same thing with Mahomes. If you take the whole I hate him because he's not on our team thing out of it, then boy, is he fun to watch. I mean, a snow game in Buffalo. I mean, what if the AFC Championship is a snow game in Buffalo between the Bills and the Ravens? Ooh, baby. Is that good or is that good? Let's go. Let's go. I mean, come on. From a football perspective, I understand it's not the Jets. Wait a minute, the Jets. But the Jets aren't going there this year. So we got to watch something. I mean, what if we're doing a watch along and it's, January and it'll be 80 degrees here in Florida, but so I'll be watching from the safety and comfort of this apartment and we're doing a watch along and we're watching Buffalo in the snow and it's the Josh Allen Bills against the Lamar Jackson Ravens to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, come on now. It doesn't get any better than that, does it? That's what I think it's going to be. And I think that's going to be fun as hell. Or even if it's in Baltimore, same thing. You could have a snow game in Baltimore at that time of year. So this year, in addition to the Jets and keeping tab on the Jets like we normally do, I think we're going to have a lot of watch-alongs for other teams, especially when it comes to playoff time and so forth. Maybe around Christmas time, important games for the playoffs, and it's going to be fun. But the Bills are doing everything correct. There's so many examples of the way to do this. And I just hope the Jets and Giants ownership is paying attention and is thinking big. A guy like, our business side guys have to be thinking about this. Jaime, what are you doing, Jaime? Where Jaime El Hayat? Jaime is supposed to be some great business thinker or something. Where's Jaime's projection of like maybe we should do something different stadium wise and where's the creative thinking from old Jaime? He's around for some reason on our business side. Where's the big plan, big guy? You're not just there to count the beans, you bean counter. What about coming up with a grand plan for the future of the New York Jets? Where is it? We want to see.
We knocked the camera out. We knocked the camera out. We knocked the camera out. Sorry about that. We got too excited. We got too excited. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, dudes, but I don't play it that way. I like watching football. Yeah, MetLife outdated already. Yeah, I disagree with this. A lot of people have this feeling, Dodes. I disagree. I like football. Yeah, rain games. I mean, we play in New Jersey and we didn't put a roof on it. All right, so I guess I knocked out the equipment, so we'll call it a day. Thanks for joining. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. We would appreciate your subscription. I'm trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers. Press like on the video if you liked it, or even if you didn't, why not give it a like, help old Frankie out, and consider joining one of the subscription membership levels. We got the inner circle, we got the inner square, we got the inner triangle. Check them out, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks, Frankie fam.